Assalamu alaikum everyone. I hope you guys are doing really good and you people are safe in your homes. Please be safe from the current situation. And I've also started the lab, the web engineering lab, and I'm your instructor, Engineer Mia Batlisha, and let's continue with the lectures that we did at the university. We will continue from there. So the last topic that we were doing, it was Bootstrap. So in Bootstrap, what we did was we did the CSS components, the HTML components. So from now onwards, I will start with uh, in this lecture, I will start with JavaScript widgets. So in JavaScript widgets, we have different subtopics, that is carousels, collapse, tooltips, popovers, models, scroll by. I'm coming to all of them one by one. So a carousel is basically it's the images that you see in the website that changes by a hover or by a mouse click or by different methods or even automatically. Like for example, this first image, it changes by a time that we have set to it. So it will change after like every 3 to 4 seconds. The second carousel you are watching here, that is also the same as above, but it has got some mouse clicks, so you can control it from these mouse clicks. The third carousel is same as the previous one, the second one, but it has we have got some tiles here, so we can change it using these tiles as well. This fourth carousel is same as this one, but one extra feature is the caption. So it is the carousel with mouse clicks with these tiles and captions. So if you change it, it will change your slide 3, then slide 1, and so on. So this is all about carousel. It will be covered in the first instance, then we will go to collapse. In collapse, what will we do? You should have tried it in some website because it's in almost all the websites, this collapse option. So like if I click this read more button, it will open some text or anything, any element of the website. If I click it again, it will close it again. So same with this, and same with the collapse 3. So this is the collapse widget. Then we will talk about tooltips and popovers. Basically, tooltips and popovers are almost same things. So I'll cover one of them. So popover. What is a popover? Like if I click on this toggle popover, let's click on it. You can see that something pop over by the function that we did on the button. If I click this one, it will have a popover, but at the right. If I click this one on the bottom, and if I click this one on the left, if I click show popover, so using the JavaScript code, it will show the popover on this button. If I click hide popover, it will hide it from there. If I toggle it, it is getting control from this button rather than its own button. Okay. So see, if I click it again and again, it won't toggle. If I click this one, it is getting toggled. Then the other one is 5.6, and that is models. What is a model? It is a very nice function in the Bootstrap. If you click launch model, it will open a tile, a box in which you can have images, texts, anything. Like for example, you'll get to know, if I click this login, this sub page, I must say, it popovers, and you can write here your username here or a password over here. So this is models. Then at the end, we will at the end of this lecture, we will see a little bit about the scroll by. So what is a scroll by? In different, you must have seen it in different websites, or even in Microsoft Word, even, that if you click some element, some button, or any word, you have linked it to some ID. Like for example, if I click about, so it will go to the about section of this website. If I click services, it will go to the services section of the website. So this is all about the scroll by. So now let's come towards the carousels. What are these carousels? So what will I do? Let's open the Microsoft Visual Code, and I'll open the 5.2, that is carousel code. I will start this code with the open with a live server. I hope you guys have installed it in your PCs. So it will open the browser. Now let's start coding. Okay, so let's start coding. In the first we'll make a simple slider, that is the slider number 1 that we have just discussed. So what we have here, we have got a division, and in that division we have imported a class that is container, and other two classes, that is row and column, and we have given some margins, and after that we have defined another division that is let's just remove this, so I code it again. Okay, so in the first division, what I'll write is I'll simply import a class of a carousel, right? Carousel, and including that I'll also import a class slide, and I'll give it some margin, let's say MB5, right? Now I should also give the slider an ID, so I can use it later. So let's give it this ID, let's say slider 1. Okay, so this is the ID of the class. Now I'll use another element of this Bootstrap, that is data write, and data write of carousel, right? Now I'll make another division, and in this division I'll import another class that is carousel inner, right? And then in the division of the image I will have a class of carousel item and active. Okay, what is this active? Basically active is when you get to a website, it's the first image that comes in that carousel. So if I make this image as an active, that is this one image. If I make this one active, so this would be the first image that when you load the website it will pop up. If I make this one, if I give this image the class of active, so this would be the first image that pops up when you refresh the page. So let's save this code, and now you can see that, okay, I have to it won't load like that. I have to give all of these images the carousel item class. Carousel, let's copy it from here, carousel item, and again a class of carousel item. Now let's save it again. Well, there is some sort of a problem here, and that could be here. Oh, the spelling of the carousel is wrong in every instance. I have to make it SEL. Sorry for that. Carousel, I hope I haven't used it. Let's save it, and here it is. We have made a carousel, right? So this carousel this is a carousel, right? I'll let you know how to change the timing so it changes the these images fast or slow. So it is currently working on a default timing. I guess that is 5 to 6 seconds. Okay, so this is a simple carousel. Now what I have to do is, let's push it back. I'll copy all of the code of this simple carousel and I'll paste it here. And now what we have to do, we'll build a carousel but with a slider option with controls. So what we can do, we can control the carousel, the images, using mouse clicks. So for that, what I have to do, I have to firstly I have to change the ID of the class, ID of this division, because if I do not change the ID of this controls, it will be same as this previous one. So when I use the controls of this this division, it will be affected on this previous slider. So first of all, let's change the slider ID. Then what we have to do, just come here and do the second last of the division, and I'll use a class of, sorry, not the second last, but before the last division. Let's make a division, and in this division, let's firstly we have to give it a slider with a control. Okay. Okay, we do not need a division here, sorry. What we have to do is, this is for controls. Okay. What we have to do for the controls, we'll simply add an a tag within a reference tag, and we'll give the reference as this slider 2 that we just changed the name of. Then we'll use a class that is carousel control. And what is the control? It's a next button, right? So we'll have two buttons, next and previous. So this one is a class of next button. So or let's first make the previous one, so it is more obvious. So it's a previous button, and we'll give it a data slide option of previous, right? Okay, so close the a tag. Now just simply copy this code and paste it back, and we'll make another one for same as above, but it will be for the next. So it's a next button, and the data slide option will also get to next. Okay. Now again, in this tag, you have to make a span. And what would the span do? It will have a class of carousel control previous icon. So it will be what is this span? It is just an icon to for the mouse to be clicked. So I will also make one over here. but this span would be for the next icon. So next, let's save this code. It will be here. Okay, we have something. Oh, sorry, a division tag is missing over there. So if we get okay, so now you can see that we have two carousels. This was the previous one, the simple one, and this is the second we have generated with control. So you can see we have a next button. If you click it, it will go next. If we click the previous button, it will go back. So this is the carousel having controls. Now let's make another slider, another carousel, but with tile indications. Let's copy this code and let's copy the code and let's paste it again. In the tile, what we have to do, after the first division, this one, the first main division, we'll make a OL list, order list, right? And in this order list, we will have a class of carousel indicators. Carousel indicators, right? Let's also close this class. Okay. Now in this, we'll have different list items, right? So in the first list item, I'll input a class of active. So again, this active means the same as I discussed previously. And I forgot one thing again. I should change the slider ID. So whatever I write in this division, it should be only implemented in the current division. If it was slider 2, it would be affected on the previous slider, not this one. So active, now give it a data target of slider number 3. Slider 3. Okay, so this is the data target. And then one other thing, let's just copy paste it 3 times because we have 3 images here. So copy and paste, but remove the active class from the other 2 if you don't want them to be active first. So change that. Now one more thing I have to add here is it's an option that to which slide we have to, or to which image we have to slide. So it is data slide to. So it's a very simple command, data slide to, and for this, as in programming languages, I'll give it a number of 0, and then to the second image it would be 1, right? And to the third image it should be 2, right? Let's save this. I hope it does the job. Yeah. So in the third slider we have the control buttons and as well as these tiles. So if I click on this, it can change to different images. And how is it being changed? It can be changed using this command, data slide to. Like for example, if I click on the third one, so it will change to the third image. If I click on the second one, it will change to the second image. And the controls also work. Okay, so now what should I do? I should copy paste again this complete code. Oh, sorry, this should be 3 and this should also be we have to make a slider, a carousel, having all these functions, but we'll also add another function that is the caption. So all of the code remains the same, but in every I must say in every division of the image we will have some extra code for the captions. So how can we do that? So I'll just go to the after every image tag, where is the image? Okay, here it is. After every image tag, I'll make another division, div, and in that division what I'll do is I'll have a class of a block and of a D block, and one other thing I forgot here, that could be the just leave about the block. We have already made the division, so let's use it for a class of carousel caption. Just simply forget about the D block at the moment. Carousel caption, right? Carousel caption, and one other thing would be D none, and empty block. So why have I written D empty block? It means that if I have okay, just leave this one for a second, so you guys won't get confused. Just leave this for a moment. Just we are good here, right? Okay, so in this carousel caption, what we'll have to do is let's write something here. Let's say I have a caption, so let's make a heading for it, and in the heading let's say I write slider 1, right? And close the tag. By slider 1, I just came to my mind we should also change the ID. So it's slider 1, or let's say slider. Okay, now what I have to do is just add a simple paragraph of some lorem ipsum. Let's say it's the first image of current slider. Right, now let's close that tag, and I should do the same for all the other images as well. So let's go to the second image, paste it here. It would be, let's say, slide second, and it will be a second image. Let's see, it's just the simple text. You can write anything in here. And in the third division we also do the same, having, let's say, third, it will be the third image. Let's save it, and let's see what does the browser show us. So it's the same. Okay, one thing I forgot again, we have to change the slider options. Slider 4, and one more thing for the controls. change it everywhere. So just come down and you can see that if it has captions, the H2 text and the simple paragraph text. I can change it, and okay, there's some problem here. Some problems there. Let's see what the problem is. Okay, let's refresh it. Oh, so here it is again. So it has it's the second slide. Okay, there's some problem in the third slide. Let's go to the third one. This division and okay, so that's the problem. We've got a division problem. Save it. Now let's go to the third one. Okay, still the problem. What the problem could be? Okay, we've got some division ending notes missing. Let's see the third one. Let's see, I hope it works this time. Let's go to the second. Let's go to the third. Okay, so it's just a division tag missing. Programming. A simple thing missing and you are stuck. Okay. Okay, so these are the four carousels or the four sliders that we just talked about. Now a little bit of JavaScript in here. Let's say I want to change the interval of these images that I mentioned at the start of the lecture. So what I have to do, just come to the JavaScript, and I'll write some code for the carousel. That is dot carousel and carousel again, carousel, and in this we'll write some code in here. So the first one, I want to change the interval of the images. So interval, let's change it to, let's say 1 second. That's, for instance, it's very fast, but let's do it. So let's save it. You can see that after every second the images are changing. So let's do it for 3 seconds. That would be good, I guess. After 3 seconds the images would change. Then I'll add another thing that would be Popover, and yes, I'll make the sorry, I want that if I put my mouse cursor on the image, so what it does is it pauses the slider. So I'll say that if it should be paused using a hover. So let's check if it works. I hope it does. So now the images are changing, but if I put my mouse on this slider, it is not changing. The other ones are changing, but this one is paused. So let's remove it again, and it will change this time. Okay, it has changed. Okay, there's another option that is wrap. A wrap is basically, let's make it false because by default it is true. A wrap is basically that if we have 3 images in this, in all of these sliders. So what it does, if it changes the images and it gets to the image 3, so if the wrap is true, it will change it to the image 1 again, and it will continue in this loop. But if the wrap is off, the wrap is false, then it will not change the images. So let's make it false, and by the time it gets to the last image, it won't change to the first one. See, all of the images are. Let's go to the last one. Okay, it's not working. It should work, by the way. What's the problem? Pause, hover, wrap. Shouldn't work. It should work, I mean. So wait for it. Okay, so it has started working. It's not in the loop now. It has stuck to the third image. So if we make it true, so it will get in the loop. Okay, so this was the first part of the JavaScript widgets. Now let's proceed to the second of our widgets, and that is collapse option. So now let's talk about the collapse. So we'll go to the visual code again, and we'll the collapse, that is 5.3 5_3_ collapse. Let's open this in the live server or in the browser if you would like to say. Okay, let's realign it. Okay, so we have a little HTML file over here. What we have to do, we have to apply Bootstrap on it. So let's go to button with collapse. First, let's change the view. Toggle word wrap. Okay, so first of all, okay, so what can you do here? You can change the collapse using a button or different accordions. So first of all, let's change the button. So what we'll have to do is we'll import a class of a button. We'll give it a color, let's say a button of primary, and let's make it a D block, let's say. Okay, so we've already covered this in the previous class at the university. Sorry. D block, and let's give it some margin of, let's say, 4. And what would it do? Let's use the data toggle option. What would it do? It would do the collapse function. So the data toggle has to collapse and give it a target. Let's say give it a name, maybe collapse button, something. Collapse button. Okay, so this is the target. The target is basically the ID of the element we would like to change using this button. So this is the target. We also have to make a number sign with it. Okay, so let's save it. Let's see if it works. Yeah, so this is the button, right? Sorry. See, so it won't work yet because we have not given this paragraph an ID. So for that, what we have to do is, in the first division, we'll give it a class of collapse first of all. collapse, and let's give it some margin, let's say 5, and give it the ID that we have given here, that is collapse button. Okay, collapse button. Now I would like this text to be in a card. We have already used card, so let's give it a class of a card, and this one as a class of the card header. Maybe not the card header. Okay, let's give it a class of card header, and for the card header I have to now make a header because it was not here. So let's make a header of h5, and here we can write maybe or just simply what we can do is just forget about this. We'll give it a class of card body. Yeah, so it is a simple card body. Let's save it and let's see what it does. Okay, so we have this read more button. Once we click it, it collapses the accordion back and forth. Okay, so now let's come to the second one, that are the 3 accordions. I hope you remember in the beginning of the lectures there were 3 accordions. There are many divs here, so let's complete these divs. So in the first div I would simply give it an ID of accordion. It's just a name. And in the second div I would make a class card, and yeah, here we can use a header, so card header. It could also be used in the previous example, but just for this sake of simplicity I didn't use that. Okay, so this is a card class. Here we can give it some reference, let's say collapse 1, maybe collapse 1. I have to define the collapse 1 first. Collapse 1, and data parent. What is the data parent? It's the accordion that it is the part of. Accordion. Okay, accordion. And what would the data toggle do? It would do the function of a collapse. Okay, so this is the heading. Now let's come to the body. So class this is collapse, and I will also give it an ID of collapse 1. What is this ID? This came from here. So once I click this header, this h5 collapse 1 header, what would it do? It would collapse this text over here. And I want to add one more thing to this heading, to this division, that is the show. What is show? Because it is used like if I refresh the page or I open the website. So this one division should also be should always be uncollapsed, so it will be visible. So for that you can also do the same for collapse 2 and 3. Save it. Okay, so now we have this is as a card, and if I click this, okay, there should be some problem in there. Okay, there's a spelling mistake. If I click it, okay, so it works. Okay, the same I can do for the second and the third one. Let's say I just what would I do? Let's do a simple thing. Let's copy paste it. Copy, say paste it. values. Okay, they should remove because the accordion is only one. And remove this as well. Maybe this is third one. It's all right. Let's give it an ID of collapse 2. Also collapse 2, and change the reference to collapse 2, and also change the show because I don't want this to be visible when the page is refreshed. So let's save it. Now you can see that the collapse 2 is here. You can do for other as well. So this was all for the collapse. Now we'll talk about the tooltips and popover. So these are almost the same thing, so I would skip one of them. Let's jump to the popovers. Okay, so now let's start the popovers. So for that, what we have to do is, let me just first show you what a popover is so that you should have a little bit of idea. Okay, so these are popovers. Like if I click it, there's a popover on the top. If I click it, there's a popover on the right. If I click it back, it toggles on the bottom, on the left. This is also one of the toggle popover, but it can also be controlled from these buttons: show popover, hide popover, toggle popover. So we have to code this page. So for that, let's go to popovers. See, it won't work at the moment since we haven't coded it yet. So for that, let's go to the code that is the tooltip, popovers, and open Lab Server. Okay, let's realign this. Okay, so now let's begin. The buttons have already been styled since we have done it lots of times. So within the buttons, let's give them some other elements for the popovers. The first one should be data toggle. We've used it lots of times, and the data toggle should be a popover, right? If you're using tooltips, so then the data toggle should be a tooltip, since I've told you that these things are almost the same. Then we'll give it a new element that is data placement, and data placement is equal to top. Okay, so what is this? This is basically when we click this one, toggle popover, the popover will come on the top. So this is a data placement. Then the content of the data, that if we click it, what will be the content? So for that, data content is equal to, just let me go to the view at Bootstrap. Okay, so data content, it can be any content, let's say hello or something like that. Okay, then the same applies to the other buttons. Let's say I started from here. Let's copy paste it. Let's say this one should be maybe left one, right? And let's say this one should be a right one, so that it gets nicely aligned visually. Let the data content be something like make it, I guess, some lorem ipsum, maybe lorem sorry, lorem 10 tab, lorem 10 tab. So some of the lorem ipsum data came with us. I'll paste it here. So this is the second button. Now let's copy paste it. Sorry. And copy paste it in this one as well. Okay, let's change the orientation. Let it be bottom, let's say, and for this let it be left popover. And okay, so let's check it out. Let's save it and see if it works. Sorry, there's a problem in the second one. What is the problem? Oh, sorry, this is a redundant element. Okay, so now if we click it, it doesn't work. It doesn't work because for this popover to work, in order to this popover to work, we should write a JavaScript code for it. For that, we have to write a really simple code. It is like for the popovers and for the tooltips, we should initialize it first. So for, let's say, for initialization, initialize it first. We must write dollar data toggle. That what will be toggled? It should be a popover, right? Popover dot popover and function. So let's run this code now. Let's see it works. The first one is let's begin it. There is some problem in the orientation. Let's check what we have done wrong. There should be some problem in the code. That's why the data placement is not working properly. Here, this is not working properly because the spelling is wrong. So data placement, sorry for this, for such silly errors. I apologize for that. Now let's see. Okay, so the first one on the top, then on the right, then on the bottom, and then on it's on the right because there is no space on the left side, so that's why it by default went to the right. Okay, now if we talk about this button, we have not initiated yet. So what we have to do, it's basically dismissible. We want to make a dismissible popover. It's like this is the button, and here a popover will come out, but we want to control this popover from these buttons down there. So for that we have to write let's say data toggle, and data toggle is definitely a popover again, and then we should write data placement, let's say on the top, then let's say data content, and it should be dismissible popover. Let's say it's the content that we want to show. Now we want to trigger it from somewhere. How can we trigger it? We would like to trigger it from the JavaScript. So we'll make 3 buttons. One button is show popover, one hide popover, and one toggle popover. For this we have to make some functions. So for those functions, in order to work, we have to give this button, the toggle popover button, an ID. So let's give it an ID. Let's say is equal to anything. Let's say hello. Hello is the ID. So this is the ID of this button, and how will we use the ID? We'll use it through functions. So for this, we'll add an element that is on click. On click, it would be show pop over and a function. Let's copy paste it to the other buttons as well. And make this hide popover. Let's make this toggle popover. Now we have to define these functions in the script below in the JavaScript. For that, we have to make functions first, and then we'll tell the functions that what to do when these clicks are done. So first of all, we initialize a function of show popover, and in that function what we have to write is, let's say, first of all I'll write my ID where it should work, and pop over show, right? So for this function, what will it do? It will show the popover. Now let's do it for the other two functions as well, that is hide popover and toggle popover. So for hide popover, hide, and for here it will be also hide. Same is the case here. Let's make it toggle, and this should also be toggle. Let's see, I hope it works. So shop over hide toggle. Great, it works. Let's say we want this button to hide the popover when we click anywhere. You can see it doesn't go away. For that, we have to add something in the division of the dismissible popover, and we should write after this I guess this is trigger. I hope it works. Data trigger is equal to focus. Yes. Let's see if it works. So it works now. Like if I open this one and I click here, it won't work. But if I open this popover and I click anywhere, it will work. So this is all for the popovers. So models. For models are basically like the popovers, but they are like some sort of dialog box comes. It just pops up, and you can like have any type or any number of data in it. You can put any type and any number of data in it. So for that, let's first of all do what? Let's realign it and open the models code. Let's open it with the live server. We are good there. Okay, so first of all, what we have to do, we will make a model out of this. This is a button, this is the title of the model, this is a close button, I mean a close icon, a close button, and the body of the model. So first of all, let's go to the code and Okay, so here we start. Let's give the button some styling so it looks good, you know. And button, we have done it like plenty of times. Let's give it a primary color. And okay, sorry. Okay, now data toggle is equal to a model. See, this is the beauty of the Bootstrap. It has got many different classes. You just import all of the work of the class by just using a simple one-liner code. So it's really convenient. And the data target is equal to my model. Let's say just give it a name of my model. So this is sort of it's an ID of the model that we will be building. Okay, now let's come to the model. There are many divisions. Let's start populating them. First of all, class model as usual, and then give it the ID that we just mentioned there, that is my model. In the second div, give it a class of model dialog. So a dialog box opens once we click it, model dialog. Then a class of model content, and then we use a class of a model header. So for the model header, we'll use an h5 heading tag, and we'll give it a class of model title. And with that, we have this close button, this cross here. So for that we have used and times. So we'll also give it a model tag. So class as the class close. And what would it do? This button, it would data dismiss. Okay, so is equal to, what would it dismiss? The model. Okay, now this second one would be the second division would be our model body, and this is our code. Okay, so we also have this cross button. We'll also have a close button in the end of the model. So for this we will what would we do? We'll give it a class footer, so that this would be the model footer. And let's make this button look really nice. So for that we'll give it a class of button secondary, I guess, maybe. And what would it do? It would do data dismiss of the model. Right, so I hope we are done here. Let's see. Launch model. We have got a dialog box. We have got the model titled in h5. Then we have the body. And then we have a cross button. It works, and it works. That's great. Okay, now I want to make another model that would show some. Let me show you the solved one. JavaScript models. For this login button, let's make this one. So since I've told you how to make a model, and I've also basically this is a simple form. So I would do one thing so it saves some time. Okay, so I'll just copy the code and just paste it there. I'll let you know what the code is. Okay, so where is the, yeah, so using a button. Okay. Okay, so what would this do? Let's go back to our previous page. Okay, so this login, let's just save it. I hope it works. Yeah. So we have made a login button first of all, right? And we have given it an ID. The ID is from this model, and everything is same. Everything is same. Just the title is different, and the ID is different. And then we come here. In the model body, we had some content over there, but for here, like a simple paragraph. But for here, we have a simple form here that has a username and a password. We have also already done it before, and then if we click it, we had a close button here, and here we have a login button here. So this is a same code as for the previous one. Okay. Okay, so now let's talk about the scroll spy. This is the last topic of the day. Let's go to view and toggle the wrap. Okay, open with live server. Okay, so we have what I said before, that if I click this welcome, it should come here. If I click this about, it should go to about, and if I click services, it should go there. For that, what we have to do is, let's go to the code and let's start. Okay, so first of all, what we have made a nav bar. We have already done it in previous class. I hope you have the data saved for you guys. So this is a nav bar with this is the brand logo, and these are 3 pages or the 3 topics of this website. So here what we have is, let's add an ID to this nav bar. Where would we add it? Here, ID is equal to main, let's say, give it a name, main navigation maybe. Okay, then you can see that we have used the welcome, about, and services tags here, and for that we have referenced it to the welcome ID, the about ID, and the services ID. So first of all, this is the welcome topic, so we will write here ID is equal to welcome, that we have already referenced here. Then to the about section, we will write ID is equal to, about, and then we have a services section, so ID is equal to services. Okay. So let's save it and let's see if it works. Welcome, about, services. Okay, don't worry about the if I click the welcome. So the welcome this welcome title, it just disappears in the back. It's not because of the Bootstrap or HTML, it's because of the CSS. So we can resolve this matter because it just goes behind this navigation bar, so it is really easily solvable. Okay, now I want to add a small animation to it. Like if I want it, like if it comes to the welcome, so this illuminates or this hovers. Then if I come to about, then this about illuminates. So for that I have to just add a really small piece of JavaScript code, and it would be something like uh, body dot scroll scroll spy, and there I'll give it a target of the main navigation that we have used before, the main navigation, and I hope that's all. So now let's see if it's in welcome. The welcome eliminates. If we go to about, the about eliminates, and if we go to services eliminates. Okay, if I click on about, it just comes abruptly down there. If I click on services, it is abrupt. You can also do these sort of smooth scrolling and these animations really easily in the JavaScript. It's just a 1-2 liner codes. You have to use a really small function and a 1 or 2 if statements for that. So I'll leave that to you guys. You people should explore that. So that's all about the Bootstrap. I have covered in the 2 labs. One in the previous lab that was that we did in the university. Now this is the second. This was the second lab, and here we talked about different JavaScript widgets. So I hope you have understood it. Now, as a matter of learning, I have to give you an assignment. So the assignment would be the first assignment would be to I've given you a short code of like the complete website. So you have to complete that. But that is your that is for your own learning purposes. For submission, what you have to do, you should make a small CV website for yourself using the Bootstrap. So once you make that website, it should be a one-pager. It should be a one-pager website. Okay, let's make it easy. It should be a one-pager website, and it should use almost all the elements we have used in the Bootstrap, including the Nav Bar and the JavaScripts, and let's say buttons and forms and forms. I don't think so it would be applicable to CV, but they try to use as many elements as we have learned, like badges and alerts and cards and jumbotrons. So whatever you would like to use. So please make a really good viewing CV. So if there is any questions, so I'll also take a live class after some time, maybe in the coming week. So if there's any question, please let me know. I'll solve it in that class. So thank you so much for your patience and for your learning. So the lab lecture should be a little bit lengthy than the regular theory lectures because we have to implement it practically. So thank you so much and enjoy your holidays.